Hi everybody, this is Katherine Woodworth. I am here to give you a few tips and pointers maybe on trying to do things virtually as far as counseling or any other things that you're trying to do for a professional reason. Um, One thing that makes it really hard is when people make the appointments for the virtual counseling. Um, the sense is I don't have to go anywhere, so I stay home. And most of the time that's true. But with this, it's a little different because part of being in counseling is that you are actually physically away from the world for that hour. You are not in the world. You're able to look at the world, see a different perspective, rework it in your head, all, without having to be mixed up in the world. So when you do a virtual session and then you try to do it at home and you have all the kids running around, you have the pets running around and all of the chaos that's going on because, everybody wants to ask you questions and everybody wants to know what's going on because of course you're the one that knows what's going on. So it's really hard to focus in on you, and part of counseling is about focusing in on you. Part of you trying to find a balance to make you more happy is because you haven't focused on you very much. So counseling is meant to do that. So when you set up an appointment, do everything you can. If you have to get into your car and leave everybody inside, if you have to walk down the street and go to a pavilion in a park, especially right now because there's nobody in the parks, or at least there shouldn't be. But go to work, in the parking lot. Go to where I would have the counseling sessions in person in the parking lot. Someplace that you are actively, because that's part of the treatment, is you actively doing something for you instead of letting everybody else make choices. Okay? So that's the first thing. Please try to make sure that you have your personal time. Again, that is part of treatment. You sticking up for you. Okay? 2, people want to try to use their cell phones, and cell phones are great, and you can technically do the video sessions by your cell phone. It's still HIPAA compliant on the platform that I use. The thing is, you have a much different picture and it's much smaller. And one of the reasons that people feel so distant when they're trying to do distance counseling is because you've got these little pictures. But when you're using your computer and you have a bigger screen and you kind of sit back from it, then you can see more of the person that you're talking to. So it's more like actually being in person. You want to try to make it comfortable, so have your favorite chair, your favorite pillow. I let people bring their animals into session because it makes them feel more comfortable. Whatever you need, whether it's a snack or a drink or whatever, okay? If it makes you comfortable, then you need to try to have it there, because the more comfortable you are, the more you'll be able to explore things that you might not really want to explore. Again, in one video I talked about countering a dark, dreary day with bright colors. Okay, this is kind of the same thing. You're going into counseling to work on things and to explore things that you really don't want to. You want the end result, but you're kind of hesitant about whatever it is that you have to work on. So anything that you have that makes you feel comfortable and safe, go for it. Okay? So again, try to not use your cell phones. Sometimes you have to, and it's not a problem if you do. Just the ideal situation is if you can be on a laptop or a computer, or even your iPad has a bigger screen. But the idea is to have a bigger screen so you actually feel a direct interaction with that person, okay? Plus, for therapists it helps us because we get to see more body language. We get to see how you're acting and reacting and what you're talking about and what you're not talking about. Okay? So try to keep that in mind. Yes, they may be virtual sessions, but still treat them as though they're an actual brick and mortar session, because you need you. You need you time. Okay? Making sure that you check on the links in order to go to the virtual sessions. Try to do that like the day before, so that if you have any questions, you can ask them and try to get things worked out prior to the session. If there are forms and stuff that have to be sent, like on mine, I've got forms that I've tried to send, and for some people it's had technical issues. And if that's the case, then I need to be able to print them off and have them sign it in person. Okay? So those are the kind of things that you want to try to keep track of. On your phone, especially on your phone, generally headsets or running the sound through your car seems to be the best way of having the best sound. If you're on your computer, it seems like it's kind of half and half. Some people work better with the headsets and some people don't. I think having earbuds or a headset, in a way, kind of puts you into blinders into the session, so you're actually in the session. So you can focus more and you can dive deeper into it. But mostly that's if other people are bothering you a lot. Okay? Again, try to be in a place where people aren't bothering you a lot. Okay? Video sessions can be a little bit to get used to. They're a little different. They seem awkward because you're physically not there in the same room. But it's okay. Give it some time. It will get better. Some people, they prefer to do it there anyway because it gives them a sense of security. They feel safer to talk about stuff they need to talk about, which is awesome. Okay? And those people definitely need to stay with online counseling, even after all the stuff with COVID-19 is done. Okay? Whatever works for you is what you need to do for you. Okay? And that goes for anything. For me, normally when I'm doing laundry, if I have a load that comes out of the dryer, I put it straight up. You know, I go ahead and go straight in. As soon as I pull it out, I hang it up, fold it, whatever. Because for me, if I don't do that, then it can end up staying in the basket. Well, earlier today, I left a load in the laundry room because I was going to put the load in the dryer in it and then just hang them all up at the same time. Well, I considered not doing it tonight, but guess what? Everything would be really wrinkled and awful, and then I would have found an excuse not to do it tonight. I would have done it like never. So, because I know how I am, I'm a procrastinator, so I have to do preventative measures so that my procrastination doesn't get in my way. Not always successful, but I'm more successful when I'm trying. Okay? So when I saw that the load was done, I was in the kitchen doing something, and I heard the dryer end, and I'm like, just do it. So I didn't think about it. I didn't go over it. I just went in there, got both loads, went straight to the closet and the dresser and put them all up. Okay? For me, that's necessary. For other people, they can plan it out and they can focus on one thing and they can do that one thing and then go on to the next. I have a lot harder time focusing on one thing, which you could probably tell in these videos. So for me, I have to make sure I don't leave it in the middle or go on to something else and just ignore it. So again, just whatever works for you. Don't beat yourself up. I could sit here and beat myself up all day long. Oh, I'm a procrastinator. I don't get anything done. But the thing is, that's not getting me anywhere. So I have to suck it up, buttercup, and admit I'm a procrastinator so that I can figure out what to do to prevent it from getting in my way. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about understanding who you are, just as who you are, so that you can do what you need to do. Okay? Now, that was kind of a side note. sorry, get back to being here on virtual therapy, online telehealth, distance counseling, electronic counseling, however you want to call it. Different people call it different things. It's all the same thing. It's okay. But the reason I was saying just make sure you know you kind of goes back to the fact of if you admit who you are and you just bring in the things that make you feel comfortable and you go where you need to go to feel comfortable, don't judge yourself for whatever it is. Just have it there, okay? Now, again, not hurting anybody else, physically, mentally, emotionally. We're talking about you and your bubble, what makes you feel comfortable and safe. And that's what you need to make your environment when you're doing a virtual session, okay? And depending on where you go for counseling, different therapists, different counselors, they do different things. Some work with animals, some don't, some are in like 9-to-5 offices, some aren't. Everybody does things differently. It's not right or wrong. It's every therapist has to do it how they feel more comfortable. It's more of them than trying to do it some way they're not. So, I mean, I let people bring their animals in because animals generally make them feel safer and calmer. When you're doing the virtual session, have your animals there. If you're talking to a therapist in-house, then you just need to talk to them and say, okay, this is the stuff that makes me feel safe. This is the stuff that makes me feel comfortable. And just find one that lets you do that, okay? No, be reasonable, okay? You can't go into sessions naked. Not gonna work. But you can bring your animals. You can have stuffed animals. You can have your trophies or your whatever, okay? Makes you feel safe and comfortable. Go for it. So, online counseling is awesome and it works great. Just remember, do not beat yourself up for being you. Just be okay with you and bring what you need to the table to do what you need to do for counseling, okay? So, take it easy. Have a good evening. My husband got me this board today, and it says what I've been saying on all my videos. Be you, be safe, and be happy. So, be you, be totally safe and all this stuff, and be happy, okay? All right, bye guys. Have a great evening.